The following presentation is a gift from the team at Streamline Publishing, publishers of Fine Art Connoisseur, Plein Air Magazine, and weekly newsletters Fine Art Today, Realism Today, Plein Air Today, and American Watercolor, and events, the Plein Air Convention and the Figurative Art Convention. We offer over 400 different art instruction tutorials and ultra high-quality video by the world's leading artists. If you like what you see, help us support our artists and our team with your purchase. Each video aired has a special discount code for today only in the comments section with a link to the video offered. And to see everything we do, or if you want to receive notice of new releases, new products, and new events for artists, simply click the other link, which says, see everything we do. Thank you.
Hi there, I'm Eric Rhodes, publisher and founder of Fine Art Connoisseur and Plein Air Magazine. Thanks for tuning in today. We are here every day at 3 p.m. Eastern, and the goal is to keep your brain occupied, kind of take you out of all the nonsense going on across the world, right? Anyway, this one, a video we have is called Pears on an Oriental Rug. It's with the great Robert Johnson.
Good morning, everybody. This morning I'm going to do a demonstration of secco pears with oleander. And the oleander is in an Amish milk pitcher I got up in Lancaster, Pennsylvania this spring with a Persian rug. I'll be working on a double prime lead canvas, which I have toned last night with a little bit of ultramarine blue, transparent oxide red, and I think a little bit of terra rosa, just to kill the whiteness of the canvas and create a painterly feel. And also in the event that some of the canvas is left exposed after the demonstration, it will look like it's part of a painting, and you couldn't do that if you left it just a pure white canvas. Also, the white canvas, to me, tends to distort some of the values and colors. So I like to work on something that's a bit toned down in a neutral way. I put a little bit more of the transparent oxide red and terra rosa down here because I knew that was going to be the rug area. And I will be using a palette that consists of titanium and zinc oxide white, Naples yellow light extra, cadmium lemon, cadmium yellow pale, yellow ochre pale, Indian yellow, transparent oxide red, terra rosa, cadmium red light. That particular brand is Holbein. This is permanent rose, permanent alizarin, gamblin. This is cobalt violet light. This is ultramarine, that's Old Holland, ultramarine blue. Cobalt blue, Winsor Newton, and this is Viridian, Holbein Viridian, number H270, and this is Cinnabar green Holbein. I don't always have this out, but when I'm doing something with a floral in it, it's sometimes it's a little bit warmer green that I can sometimes use. I have a medium of Marager. And I mixed up a batch of gray which consisted of the transparent oxide red, ultramarine blue with white and just a little bit of the yellow ochre pale. My brushes, I have a variety of brushes. Okay, this is the Filbert, this is Egbert. This is a flat mongoose brush. This is the Lily Doll Sable. And these are the small Kolinsky Performance brushes. This is a longer bristle, a longer hair brush. This smaller. This one was sent to me by mistake. I ordered some of these and I got this, but I like it. It comes to a nice point, and we'll see if it works on some of the finer work. You should have a couple smaller brushes in your arsenal. And this is a badger hair blender, and this is the Masters Le Coup badger hair. They used to cover large areas, as I say. Now, it's important in painting to have everything set up so that when you start painting, everything goes automatically. That you don't have to think, where is this color? Where is this color? Where's my brush? What am I going to... I had a medical doctor explain to me one time that it took 45 minutes to set up to do a 10-minute surgery, but once you get started, you have to move and know where everything is. And the same is true for painting, and in a way it's just as important to us who care about painting as surgery is to a medical doctor. So you don't want to have to think, so when you put your paints out, they should be in the same place each time, so you don't have to think, where am I going to reach to get the transparent oxide red? It comes automatically. You want to eliminate the interruption between what you see and what goes on your canvas. That comes from the brain. It wants, like playing a piano, you want to have it come automatically. You see the note and then the fingers go down. That's the goal. It's a difficult goal, but it's what we want. I'm going to just try to lay this thing out and organize the painting from the start with a little bit of odorless mineral spirits, maybe a little bit of Marager, just to kind of get the feel for the painting, where the design of the painting, what's going to be, when I say design, I mean where the large masses are going to be located in the painting. At this stage of the painting, you work very loosely, so anything you do could be changed. You're just trying to get a feel for the canvas. Anything that goes up there can at some point come out. The goal at this point of a painting is to make sure that all the spaces are the way you want them, both negative and positive. So you don't spend several hours working on a flower and make a nice vase, and the pears are in the right, are beautifully done, but there's a big dead space over here, and the painting will never make it. The painting will never really rise above its weakest element. And if the design is such that there's dead space, or that there's a monotonous repetition of space, even though the flowers are beautifully done, or even though the pears are beautifully done, it's never going to make it as a finished work of art. And this is a time, at the beginning of a painting, when you solve all those problems, and if it's not the way you think you're going to want it at the end, then you can just wipe it all out. There's no commitment to anything at this point. What I kind of liked when this is oleander, by the way. The thing I liked about the setup as we did it yesterday, I liked the way these leaves kind of led you in this nice little movement here, and then this guy just, was just the opposite. And when you juxtapose opposites, it's called polarity. Light, dark, warm, cool, vertical, horizontal, thin, thick. All those opposites are, I think, what generates power in the painting. To me, especially the light dark. I think I'd like to have this over just a little. A little bit of, that's why it's good to have a little bit of mineral spirits out. It's because I like, this seems to be a little too much negative in here. You can, the wonderful thing about oil painting is it's very forgiving. You can really do, you can go back, forwards, take things out, put things in, and as we'll see, as this painting progresses, if you apply the paint in the right way, it'll never look overworked. If you take care with individual brush strokes, it'll always look fresh, even though you've worked on it for days. And you want that, your painting to have the look that it was just blown on the canvas with one puff of air. At least that's kind of the way I respond to good paintings. I like the ones that look unlabored. That movement is important to this setup. When you set up something to paint, there's a reason that you respond to it. I mean, this could have been set up many, many different ways. But there was something about this that made me stop and say, that looks good. Well, sometimes you can't even articulate what it is that makes you respond to one thing versus another in a setup, but the fact is that you did stop there and that you liked it. So it's important to try to, once you've done that, to be faithful to it, to that basic look, the design that stopped you. I mean, you certainly have to take liberties at times as an artist. I think that's, for design purposes, that could do very well. I like that. Now, I wish there were a way, and maybe one day I will arrive at a way, but to eliminate that. But when you're painting light against dark like this, sometimes it's best just to put the light over the dark. So I'm going to put in the background here. This is transparent oxide red and ultramarine blue. The basic mixture of the gray that we talked about earlier down here. So if we have to go back in there, there'll be some relationship. But this way we'll start getting a feel for what's going to be light and what's going to be dark at the beginning of a painting. The idea of this painting is that that vase, a light vase and the light pair against a darker background. So in a way it's a half a step backwards because I have to paint over some of the things that we did earlier, but they're in my mind. You know, it was that first step is somehow I haven't been able to eliminate that because it's a step that it gets me into the feel of the painting and the whole canvas by working loosely like that. At the beginning of a painting, I like to take just a second, which I have done, and just thank all the painters, living and dead, that have made this wonderful world of painting available to us and solved problems and opened doors and just made it all possible. It's important, I think, with the kind of painting that I like, that there's a register of a live person in the painting, the artist, that was here that day and made those brush strokes. Other paintings, different approaches where it's more finer detail, that the artist is lost to me in the painting. But to me, I like the ones that show that there were brush strokes that an artist made the best he could do or she could do at that time to register what they were seeing, how they were feeling, how much they knew about art, how much they knew about the technique. To me, that's what makes a painting exciting. It has a human quality to it. I'm going to do something here that's going to, I think, serve us well in the end. I hope we have time during this demonstration to develop this rug a little more. This is Terra Rosa with alizarin, permanent alizarin. And I'm putting that in with a little bit of odorless mineral spirits. And it's going to set up, hopefully, while we're working up here. It's put on pretty thinly. It's got some Merage in it, and it kind of will give us the basic base of this rug. It has all types of designs in it, but the base is a reddish color, reddish rose. And if you keep in mind that, you know, anything you put in at this stage can be changed later, you can work pretty freely. Whenever you're painting pattern, say a dress or a rug. To simplify the process for you, you have to select the dominant feature, the dominant color value of the thing, a dress, a kimono, whatever, and then work the variations into it. You can't jump back and forward from the variations to the dominant. The basic, when I squint down, this is essentially a wineish, reddish rug with other variations in it, and that's what I'm going to strive to capture. This is I'm going to, now in that background that I worked in there, I'm going to try to pull out some of these shapes from that background. And again, when we did that lay-in, I had some kind of idea about where everything's going to be. And I was thinking, where did I get the idea to do this type of thing? And I'm sure it's been done by many people, but it's something that I mention now because I'd encourage you to do it. Drawing. You can learn a lot about values by drawing with charcoal. And you can, when you draw with charcoal, say powdered charcoal, and lift out with a kneaded eraser, the lights, it's very similar to what I'm doing now, and I think that's where my instinct came to do this kind of stuff. Light, the big thing that controls the power of your painting is, the light and how you handle the light and the dark and the shapes. The big masses of light and dark. And when there's another thing at work here that I think is helpful. Anything you do, once you sit down and you get set up to paint, do it like a painter, It should look, even this wiping out, should have an artistic feel to it because it keeps your energy going, gets you excited about the painting. The tabletop edge is when you're doing these eye level types of still lifes, it's pretty important to nail that down accurately. I don't know if you could see that, but when you put that in there, that there's an illusion of light. That if the surface that these things are sitting on is lit, they will take on a more lit appearance. I'm still in the design stage of this painting, and so I'm trying to locate where this is the highlight. That's by far the lightest light that I can see up there. That's a salt glazed milk picture, and that glaze is just throwing that light back. And the other thing about this setup that was interesting to me yesterday was how light this pear is, and your eye plays tricks on you. It's much lighter than you think, and when you look at it in the monitor, you see it's even lighter than this. Even somehow you don't think of a green pear as being that light, but it's the way the surface of the pear is juxtaposed is perpendicular to the light source. And whenever you're trying to figure out what's lighter and what's darker, if you think about what the relationship of the surface, the plane, to the light source, and the more perpendicular it is, the more light it's going to throw back, the more lit it's going to be. As we said earlier, the painting's only going to be as strong as its weakest component, and sometimes very often that's the stems and leaves. And there's a psychological thing that goes on too. I don't think you don't really think that these leaves, since they're in your mind green, our mind green, could be as light as the light on that picture. So your tendency is to paint them a little too dark. The leaves coming from behind can give us depth. Some of the ones in the foreground have a little more warmth and color to them, yellowish. I don't know why, but they look nice. Get one little design element in here, and then we'll take a break. I'm taking a little bit of transparent oxide red, ultramarine blue, which is the same we did that, and I'm using that. I don't have black on my palette, and it's not because I don't like the effect of black. It's because I just tried to simplify my palette, and I eliminated the black, and I felt that I could get to the same values of as say ivory black, and be a more interesting color. And this is what I use, either the transparent oxide red with ultramarine blue, or sometimes I'll use alizarin. Permanent alizarin and ultramarine blue gives you a nice, rich, warm black.
What permanent alizarin do you use?
Gamblin.
Yeah, because there's huge differences in that too.
Yeah, yeah. If we have time, as I said earlier, one of the reasons I chose this setup was to demonstrate an approach to painting this type of rug surface. And one of the fundamentals of this, most of the time these rugs that I like to paint are fairly symmetrical, and to be faithful to that design you have to lay it out in that way, and be conscious of that. And that's what I'm doing with these black lines. The other thing about painting rugs is that you can be pretty rough with them. You can sometimes use the tooth of the canvas to create the illusion of the tooth of the rug, you know, so it looks like a cloth. And that, as we talked about earlier, the more concise and economical you can be in your making your statement, the more compelling and artistic it's going to look. So look for those opportunities. Depends on the weave of the canvas and what type of rug you're going to have. The other thing I didn't like about ivory black, although I liked the color somewhat, it was that it tended to really soak in the canvas. So even I try to work on non-absorbent canvases so that as much as possible, the next day when you come to the studio, that the painting looks more or less the way it did the day before. And there's going to be some changes with the drying. So, but the ivory black would always soak in and get very matte appearance. And I don't get that with this mixture that I just described. This particular canvas that I'm working on right now is double prime lead, medium weight, that from David Davis in New York City. They make it for you. I do my own as well, but I'm trying to find a canvas that is as close to the one that I make myself that won't involve the time and also there is a toxicity problem. I think it's overrated, but it has to be respected with the lead. And let me just comment on the toxicity. You must respect it, but it shouldn't keep you from using it. I've been using it 15, 18 years, and I get my lead levels checked medically every year, and they never have shown any sign of any type of ingestion of lead. You just take the proper precautions and don't breathe it. You can breathe the fumes, but you can't, sand it is where people really get in trouble. Sanding it, reusing it, and you have to take, by the way, you have to take those same precautions with Marager, because Marager, one of the elements of it is litharge. Litharge is powdered lead. The word lethargic comes from lead poisoning. So you don't want to use this Marager and then start sanding your canvas indoors without precautions. I have also started experimenting, and I do a lot of painting now on panels. That is lead prime canvas mounted on panels instead of stretcher bars. And it has the several advantages in that it does not, it won't ding. You don't have to worry about that. I had a nice talk with the director of conservation at the National Gallery, and he was advocating that Ross Merrill is his name. He's what makes of course, these conservators are very concerned about permanence, and what detracts from the permanence of a painting is if there's any kind of instability. If the canvas, if the surface moves, then over time the paint will tend to crack or come off. So if it's on a stable surface like a panel, then you don't have to worry about that either. You know, there's something about doing this and that give of the panel, of a stretched canvas, that you can work with a palette knife, that you lose it when you get a panel. I mean, nothing's perfect, but you can't really, you don't have that same feel. You can do it, but it doesn't give that same look, doesn't have the same feel. But that's for what you get, maybe it's a fair trade-off. You know, see, there's a little bit of give. Good morning, everybody. This morning I'm going to do a demonstration of seccle pears with oleander. And the oleander is in an Amish milk pitcher I got up in Lancaster, Pennsylvania this spring, with a Persian rug. I'll be working on a double prime lead canvas, which I have toned last night with a little bit of ultramarine blue, transparent oxide red, and I think a little bit of terra rosa, just to kill the whiteness of the canvas and create a painterly feel. And also, in the event that some of the canvas is left exposed after the demonstration, it will look like it's part of a painting, and you couldn't do that if you left it just a pure white canvas. I'm going to now, in that background that I worked in there, I'm going to try to pull out some of these shapes from that background. You can learn a lot about values by drawing with charcoal, and you can, when you draw with charcoal, say powdered charcoal, and lift out with a kneaded eraser, the lights, it's very similar to what I'm doing now, and I think that's where my instinct came to do this kind of stuff. Light, the big thing that controls the power of your painting is, you know, the light and how you handle the light and the dark and the shapes. This vessel is a big part of this painting, and I don't want to put it off any longer. I've got some white, cobalt blue, a little bit of transparent oxide red. Let's see how close it comes. The lights are thicker than the darks. Keep that in mind.
Color that you're painting over dry by now?
It's not pulling up. I had a little bit of medium in it, so I can paint right over it, and hopefully I'll be able to use a little of it to replicate the grainy texture of that salt glaze. When you do an arrangement like this where you've got things in a vessel, be conscious of the fact that this is has a volume. So you can create that volume by these overlapping values. Lose track of, when you're painting, always think about what's lighter or darker than the next thing, and if so, by how much. Try to develop the skill of putting one brushstroke of paint like this over another one without losing the one under it. That's an important part of this painting, this approach to painting. And I guess in this workshop what I want to emphasize also is that, you know, if you take the chance, put down some pure color like that, you'll learn that you can always go back. You can always take it down. So start with your strongest statement, you know. If anything comes out of this, I hope it's that if you make every brushstroke count, you can really push a painting forward very quickly. I've enjoyed doing it.
Well, that was Robert Johnson, and it's called Pears on an Oriental Rug. You can learn more about that classic video at lilyartvideo.com, where you'll find the full-length video. We also have a discount code for you. Up in the comments section, you can use that discount today only. All right? Thank you for watching. By the way, I should mention to you, we have a free video called 97 Amazing Painting Secrets from the World's Best Artist. It's a $107 value. It's 2 hours in length, and it's yours as our gift. Just go to 97tips.com. I'd also like to say thank you for watching these. I would really appreciate it if you would follow me, Eric Rhodes. You see my name on the screen, R-H-O-A-D-S. Look me up on Instagram and follow me, or on Facebook. Also, if you want to hit the subscribe button on YouTube, that would be helpful. Thank you very much and have a terrific day. We'll see you tomorrow.